Joe Biden's been
Let's go to the phones at 617-830-4750. Let's see. Let's first go to, you know who's on the phone? Donald Trump is holding on. And last time it was off the rails. And that intrigues me. I'm in an off the rails sort of mood. What's going on?
Number one, I'm in love, and you're in love. We're all in love together.
And when this happens, is this like parents? Is it siblings, cousins? What like generation relative to you is it?
I've said that if Ivanka were my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her.
Hold on, let's slow down because there's a lot there. Let's really think it through.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
Wow.
She made a lot of money as a model, a tremendous amount, and then she went cold turkey and gave it all up because she had to go to college, because I wanted her to go to college. Mm-hmm. She goes to the best college. She goes to Wharton.
Okay.
She's got straight A's.
Let's take a step back. Let's address a couple different things. It ultimately, the answer is really in you, in the sense of what do you want your relationship to look like with these family members, right? Because I could give you advice that would smooth things over, but to make you feel rough or repressing your thoughts.
I'm not looking for anything bad for her. I'm not looking bad for anybody.
Well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, just work on being a normal person, my friend. I'm going to let you go.
David, you're born a certain way, and does it really change that much?
Okay, I don't believe any of it. That's all the time I have for calls today. Sorry I wasn't able to get to everybody, but we will take calls again.
Nobody that's a leader would not do what I did. And I know there's a risk, there's a danger, but that's okay. I just left Walter Reed Medical Center. And I learned so much in coronavirus. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the best medical equipment. Don't be afraid of it. It felt great, like better than I have in a long time. Don't be afraid of it. I didn't feel so good. Don't be afraid of it. You're going to beat it. We have the coronavirus. Don't be afraid of it. And now I'm better, and maybe I'm immune. I don't know. Be afraid of it. Don't let it dominate. Don't let it take over your lives. Be afraid of it. Don't let that happen. We're the greatest country in the world. Be afraid of it. As your leader, I had to do that. I knew there's danger to it, but I had to do it. But don't let it dominate your lives. Get out there. Be careful. We have the best medicines in the world, and it all happened very shortly, and they're all getting approved, and the vaccines are coming momentarily. Today, I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement in our battle against the China virus that will save countless lives. Convalescent, strong antibodies from the blood of recovered patients to help treat patients battling a current infection. Convalescent is the only possible, and it's only made possible because of Operation Convalescent. Today, I'm pleased to make a truly historic announcement in our battle against the China virus that will save countless lives. We provided $48 million to fund the Mayo Clinic study that tested the efficacy of convalescent plasma. The virus. Convalescent plasma. This is the only possible, and it's only made possible because of Operation.
There it is, the song of the summer, Plasma by Joe Woodward. A very, very exciting day. We have an incredible. Oh, what do I even have on screen? Here are super chats. I don't know what that was on screen. Some kind of analytical element was on screen briefly there. How embarrassing. We are standing by for all sorts of different people, some orange, some not, for different rallies in different parts of the country. It's the last day of campaigning. It is the election. Mike Pence warming up the crowd, if you can imagine him doing such a thing, in Traverse City, Michigan, at a MAGA rally. We are standing by with PBS. Always want to make sure that we are both live and in HD. Only the best for our viewers. What else do we have? Here's another. I just have backup streams upon backup streams because we always want to have them. We are also standing by for Joseph R. Biden Jr. I'm going to give you my updated map with likely and solid colors. It's going to be really an incredible day. And this is it, guys. It could go either way. We are now only 25 hours and 47 minutes, 25:47 from getting the first closures in states as well as the first early results. And remember, we never have, by the way, what is on screen? We do not have 151 people who signed up. I forgot to get ourselves reset from yesterday. There we go. We never have full results on election night. Don't let them trick you. We never do. Networks make calls based on demographics, exit polls, party registration, blah, 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 blah. It is always an estimate. And I understand everybody being nervous, but it's going to be okay, is my prediction. All right. Just make sure that, you have a backup plan is all I'm saying. But we are going to be following it all very closely. I will be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern tomorrow evening. And by the way, we already have where is it? Hold on. We already have a live event scheduled here. And you can RSVP, even if you plan to watch on Twitch, Facebook, or not at all. I'm going to paste the link here a few times in a YouTube chat and a few times in Twitch chat. It would really help us algorithmically. You understand what I'm saying? If you hit set reminder on that event, because then you're telling YouTube you're interested, which makes YouTube think people are interested, which is, of course, a lie. But we want the algorithm to tell more people, hey, here's a place you could watch election results tomorrow night. So please hit that set reminder button. It looks like right now only 45 people have. We actually can see it go up in real time, but that'll be tomorrow night. And I think it'll be a really, really great event for all of us. And hopefully it will be one that ends without crying. Without crying is certainly what we want at the end of the night tomorrow night. Axios with an exclusive report today that Donald Trump's plan is to declare victory. That's the plan. Now, you might say, well, hold on. In an election, doesn't it matter who votes for whom? And in a normal situation, the answer would be yes. But Trump's plan is to declare victory tomorrow night in any situation other than a Biden blowout. If it's a Biden blowout, Trump can't declare victory probably. But he will then say, oh, we've got to wait for all the votes. If it's close, if Trump has a plausible small lead in states, even if many votes remain to be counted, Trump is going to declare victory. He has canceled his victory party at his hotel in D.C. and instead is going to be staying at the White House behind a new, supposedly unscalable fence. And that is where Trump will be tomorrow night. So that's the plan. We know what to expect. Now, in the meantime, we have, at last count, another 70,000 coronavirus cases today, led by Illinois, Florida, Kansas, Wisconsin, and Michigan. We have the latest vote counts with 97.6 million people total voting. We already have 100 million votes. If you look at some states, in Texas, 8% more people have already voted than the total from 2016. In Hawaii, 110% of the 2016 turnout has already voted. Where else is strong? Montana, 99%. Jersey, 88%. Florida, 94%. North Carolina, 95%. Arizona, 93%. I don't know of any way that these numbers are good for Trump. It doesn't mean he will lose. I just don't think these numbers are good for Donald Trump. And we're going to continue tracking all of those numbers. As you can imagine, we will be tracking absolutely all of it. Okay, let's get into some of the meat. Oh, do people want a new song? I just for something light, I do have I have two songs. So yesterday I debuted the new single from Jethro Bradley, Suppression Balls. Let me just remind you of Suppression Balls. We need a little bit of a comedic interlude.
They want to go out and they want to touch, they want to vote. I'm working my ass off here. I'm soaking wet already.
He's soaking wet.
You can't hold them. I'm soaking wet already. Suppression balls. Now, yesterday we had 3 big ones, really big.
Huge.
Suppression balls. Hey, don't give me the umbrella. I'm soaking wet already. But they put numbers, they're called suppression balls. They make you feel badly. So you say to your wife or you say to your husband, darling, let's go out to dinner and then we'll come back. We love our president. But the polls say he can't win. Well, right now we're leading.
Whoa. Sorry about that.
Almost everywhere. We're leading. Well, I'm soaking wet already.
Okay, so that's Suppression Balls. Here's a new one, fresh off the, Audacity. I don't know. GarageBand. Here is Jethro Bradley's Song for Kamala. And I know it's Kamala, but this is Song for Kamala. You will understand.
Biden even chose as his running mate the most liberal senator in America. Kamala. Senator Kamala Harris.
That's killer.
Democrat. Kamala.
That's huge.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you.
The bass is killer.
If you love someone who has a pre-existing...
Word has it that friend of the show, Stu Basie Brooks, look him up. Big friend of the show, good friend of mine. He is impressed with the bass here.
Thank you. They're coming for you if you are under the age of...
Senator Kamala Harris.
I want to just, first of all, say I'm so excited to be here. Thank you. There is so much about what comes out of Donald Trump's mouth.
Don't be rude.
That is designed to distract the American people from what he is doing every day. That is about neglect, negligence, and harm.
You are fake news.
I think after all this is over, if we go back to doing live events, we will have a soundtrack that will play before, if the plan for Anna Kasparian and I to do some live events gets put back together after the virus, this is going to have to be the playlist for the pre-show. Here's one other one. This is called Somewhat of a Problem. This is by Aus 10.
There's breaking news, startling new revelations about when and what President Trump allegedly knew about the coronavirus, according to a new book by Bob Woodward.
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China. We only have 5 people. Hopefully everything's going to be great. They have somewhat of a problem, but hopefully it's all going to be great. And again, when you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to 0, it's a pretty good job we've done.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
sure, I want you to
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down because I don't want to create a panic.
Looking at the channels, getting tired of the news. Looking out the window, getting tired of the views. Mass hysteria, staring down the barrel of a Derringer. Riots in the cities, and they're very unprepared for it.
Anyway, it's a bit more of a downer, but I think it will be nostalgic if indeed we succeed in removing the Mango Menace. So I think that's what we have to look forward to there. The songs are incredible. They really are. And then just as a very, very quick reminder, just because we have the time, we do have Joe Woodward's anthemic tracks, including maybe most powerfully, David Pakman is a beta male.
I have with me David Pakman. He is a progressive host and executive producer of the nationally syndicated radio and TV program, The David Pakman Show. And I wanted to talk to David Pakman. He is a...
Anyway, you guys know that. That's pretty high quality stuff there. So we have plenty of music, and I think, depending on the results tomorrow, we may even go in with some of those tomorrow. Okay, I want to get to Super Chats. I want to get to Twitch messages. I want to get to all of it very soon. But first, let me just get caught up on people I owe a thank you to, okay? Because there are already certain people. Raul Rodriguez is new member number 1 today. Aiden Swan is new member number 2. Marcelo Diaz dos Santos is new member number 3. And Samuel Powell is new member number 4. Also, we are counting Twitch subs. We're throwing it all at the wall to see what sticks. And we went from 1,200 to 1,207, which, 1,207 minus 1,200. 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 minus 0, 0, 0, 7. Okay, that's 7 more. That puts us at 11 out of 100. Very nice. And I will open phone lines again. We had some beautiful phone calls yesterday, actually. We will open phone lines again if indeed we get to 100. Okay, other Super Chats coming in. Let's start with Super Chats. Dr. Chakaseki from the David Pakman Show Radiology Department says, someone sent me a video of Trumpkins at a Lancaster event doing a literal COVID conga line, chanting 4 more years. The death cult is dancing off the cliff. I hope so. Adam Williams says, very much ashamed that these two came to Traverse City. We are liberals here. Go away, fascists. Powerful. Amy says, I'm a lefty in rural, as some say, rural Louisiana, deep in Trump country. I didn't put up a campaign sign for Biden because I was genuinely afraid. This election is volatile. I hope that my perception of the violence to come is an overreaction. I hope so too, Amy. I'm going to have a very important statement tomorrow about the violence stuff on tomorrow. We filmed early today because I really wanted time to think about what I want to say in the last podcast before the election tomorrow, and I will be speaking about the potential for violence for sure. Sam Dean says, "G'day, mate from Australia. Genuine question. What is one of the most embarrassing things the Trump administration has done so far, in your opinion? Please don't say everything. I'm an Australian." I mean, listen, just to pick something because it's fresh in my mind. Okay, just something. Do you guys remember this? Remember when a weather forecast did not align with what Donald Trump wanted, and so with a Sharpie, a different track for the hurricane was drawn? Just with a Sharpie. This is just an example because this one's fresh on my mind. I tweeted this one today. Here's just one example, okay? And because to avoid saying everything, that's just one example as you asked for. Let's see. We're still standing by for Donald Trump in Traverse City, Michigan. Ken says, Trump is acting like a casino owner who always wants the house edge. Oh, that's right. He is a casino owner and an ineffective one at that. Well said. Hi, David. Love your channel. Best of luck tomorrow. Thank you. Immanuel Kant says there has just been an anti-Semitic attack in Austria. Our thoughts are with the Austrian people. Of course, I haven't heard about it, but of course. That's Ghastly says a friend is dropping off his ballot at the poll because he thinks the Postal Service workers are modifying ballots by steaming, opening, copying, and resealing them. That's not an effective wholesale strategy because that takes a long time, but I think it's a great idea to drop off ballots. I think it's a great idea at this point. Ant and Sharon say, hey, David, we're worried about Trump stealing the election and screwing us all. Great song. Inconsolable says you seem to be in good spirits despite the circumstances. My mom is so stressed. I'm legitimately concerned about her physical health. I'm concerned about a lot of people's physical health. I'm not going to lie. But I think this is really a time where we have to apply the tenets, not the tenants. By the way, I recently saw someone do that again, saying the tenants. It's like tenants are people who rent an apartment. Okay. Tenets is the word. The tenets of Stoicism. Did we vote? I hope the answer is yeah. Great. Did we express to others that they should vote and who they should vote for? We can only each do so much. And at a certain point, we have to separate ourselves from the outcome and say, did we do what we could do? And I feel like we have. I've been saying we've got to vote for about 2 years now. Okay. Other super chats coming in. Gaelic Dream says people talk about shy Trump voters, but what about shy Biden voters like my mom, who comes from a conservative family? Shy voters aren't always for Trump. Yeah, I mean, if someone says shy voters exist and polls can't possibly account for them, then polls can't account for them and we just all have to vote. And on that note, do you guys want to see my latest map? I could do my latest map if you want. Want to say thanks to Vanny Davis, who's new member number 12 today at joinpacman.com. Also, 6 additional Twitch subs puts us at 18. All right, let's do the map. Now, I'm going to recreate it. I'm not like, I actually like to talk through it with you guys. So I'm going to talk through it right now. One of the things I'm doing now is I'm doing safe and lean. And the reason I'm doing safe and lean is I want to be able to categorize strong Biden and Trump votes and then lean Biden and Trump votes. So let's just get to it. Washington is solid blue, Oregon solid blue, or Oregon, and California solid blue. Alaska is solid red. Hawaii is solid blue. Montana solid red. Idaho solid red. Wyoming solid red. Utah solid red. Colorado solid blue. New Mexico solid blue. Dakota's red. Nebraska red. Kansas red. Oklahoma red. Minnesota, I have a solid blue. I know Trump is saying he has a shot. I don't believe he does. Missouri is solid red. Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, South Carolina, all solid red, my friends. Vermont is solid blue. New Hampshire's going blue. Massachusetts, of course, all of this stuff is going blue. No doubt about it. Maine, I am putting a solid blue. I'm sort of like willing to say that the 2nd district is leaning blue. That's as far as I'm looking to go. Okay. New York, of course, solid blue. I believe Wisconsin is solid blue, but I believe Michigan is leaning blue. I believe Pennsylvania is not solid, but leaning blue. I think Florida is leaning red. I think Texas is leaning red. I know that there's questions about these, and I think Georgia is leaning red. Virginia will be strongly blue. North Carolina is leaning blue. Ohio leaning red. Iowa, I think, is leaning, but not necessarily red. Illinois is going to be blue. I do think that the 2nd district in Nebraska could go blue, so I'm calling it leaning red. Nevada, leaning blue. And Arizona, I believe, is leaning blue. So this is my map. Now, importantly, hold on, am I missing Trump? I'm not. Okay. Important about this. First, let's look at what's solid. I don't think there's any scenario where Joe Biden gets fewer than 236 electoral votes. I think 236, boom, is solid for Biden. And I think Trump gets himself 125. That's solid, safe blue, safe red. You then have 69 electoral votes that are leaning Biden and 108 electoral votes that are leaning Trump. Now, of course, if Trump gets himself all of these that are leaning red, he still only has 233. Okay, so let's give Trump everything that's leaning red. Red. We'll give him Nebraska. Whoop. And that's good. Okay. We give Trump everything leaning red. He's got 233. So he needs to take something from this 69. Okay. Who could imagine it would come down to 69? But it does. So, of course, if Donald Trump can take Michigan and Pennsylvania, we have that tie scenario. If he can take that one Maine district, he gets 270 to 268. I do think that is likely still leaning blue. Other scenarios would be, if he doesn't get Michigan or Pennsylvania, he needs to get Nevada and Arizona and whoops, no, I didn't want to go. Hold on. Things going astray here. Virginia will be blue. And North Carolina. This would be a scenario that gets him close, but it's still not enough. So the point here is Biden can just win with safe and leans Democratic. Trump can't win with safe and leans Republican. Trump needs to take something from Joe Biden. If you push me and say, what would that be? I think Michigan is something it could be. And the reason I say that is if we look at the Michigan polling, and then we'll get off of this, even though Joe Biden is winning Michigan, much like he's winning Wisconsin, the trend in Michigan favors Trump. And this is what we had in 2016. In 2016, in Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, if there had been 7 more days of polling, it's perfectly reasonable to expect that those states would have started polling in favor of Trump. The late Comey perversion started a swing in Trump's direction. The polling ran out of time. If you had polled people the 2 days before the election and given us those numbers the day after the election, it's very likely that Trump could have been tied or ahead. Trump has that momentum in Michigan, which is why when I look at the map, if you say from Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, what's the most likely thing to go Trump? For me, it's Michigan. Okay. So this is sort of where now we've gotten off of my original map. I'm not going to recreate it now because it would take too long. But that's where we are. Now, one other thing that's really excellent. Producer Pat sent me this today. OK, this is brilliant. This is given that a candidate wins or loses a certain state, what happens to the odds? So let me give you an example. OK, in general, the odds right now are that Trump has a 10% chance of winning. If Joe Biden were to come out powerfully ahead in North Carolina. OK, so we set North Carolina to Biden. If that happens, Biden would have a greater than 99% chance of winning the entire thing. This is if Biden wins North Carolina, which we might know early. Now, if Trump wins North Carolina, Trump's chances go from 10 to 27%. This is a very, very interesting map, and you can do it in combination. So we were looking at my map here. What happens if Trump wins Michigan? If Trump were to win Michigan, because it would require a reversal in the polls, if Trump gets Michigan, his odds of winning go from 10 to 85. Why? Because like I said, if he's able to reverse the polling, it would signal a shift in Trump's direction. So play around with this. This is very, very interesting. Just to pick something else, just to give you a sense of the importance of Florida. If Trump wins Florida, his odds go from 10 to 32. If Biden were to win Florida, there's a greater than 99% chance Biden wins. Now, unfortunately, as I mentioned on yesterday's stream, what I'm hearing from my contacts in Florida, it's not the best. It's not the best. I increasingly think that Joe Biden has a far greater shot of winning North Carolina and Pennsylvania than if North Carolina I'm not saying both, but I think Biden has a bigger chance of winning North Carolina than he does Florida. And I think Biden has a bigger chance of winning Pennsylvania than he does Florida. And case in point, one last thing. If you look at Pennsylvania, if Trump gets Pennsylvania, his odds go. Wait, no, this doesn't make any sense. Oh, I have to undo Florida. There we go. If Trump gets Pennsylvania, his odds go to 61%. If Biden gets Pennsylvania, he goes to 99%. And this gets us to the importance, because what happens is if Biden gets Pennsylvania, there's few scenarios that have Trump winning. Like there's this 276 to 262 scenario. So play around with this. This is a very, very important thing. Okay, we're getting ready to hear from Donald Trump. Please do me a favor. I have already set up this event for tomorrow's live stream. Okay, please, I'm pasting the link in YouTube chat a few times and in Twitch chat a few times. Please get in there and hit reminder. Say set reminder. Doing that signals to YouTube very strongly that you're interested in watching on my channel, even if you don't plan to, okay? Even if you plan to watch, Steven Crowder give you the results or whatever. Just do that, because that actually does help us, and it would be a really, really great thing. Okay, what else do we have? Let me get caught up on thank yous. I want to say thanks to Alejandro Batis, who is new member number 19. Kath Silversides is number 20. And Raymond Siddiq is new member number 21. As I mentioned earlier, Twitch subs count today. And we have one more on Twitch, which puts us at 22 as we are waiting for Donald Trump. I don't know if they're keeping... Oh, Trump just landed. Okay. There is Trump. And let's listen to Joe Biden briefly.
Blyer and Franco Harris came because guess what happened? The Rooneys, really fine people. The Rooneys decided that they were going to send Rocky and Franco to see my boys. No publicity. They didn't do any press. Didn't let anybody know. They spent 45 minutes with my boys. They got in the plane and went home. That's who we are as a country. That's something the president doesn't understand. Looking out for each other. The 1,000 acts of kindness, the decency that people used to show to one another and still do, that he just doesn't get. Pittsburgh, there's one more day to show who we are once again. Tomorrow, we can end the presidency that has divided this nation. Folks at home would know. Tomorrow, we can put an end to a presidency that has failed to protect the nation. Tomorrow, we can put an end to a presidency that has fanned the flames of hate across this nation, pouring gasoline on every racial incident in the country. Millions of Americans have already voted. Over almost 100 million now. Millions more will vote tomorrow. My message is simple. The power to change this country is in your hands. And I don't care how hard Donald Trump tries. There's nothing he can do to stop the people of this nation from voting, no matter how he tries.
Let's hope.
There's a press article last week, and it read as follows. Never before in modern presidential history has a candidate been so reliant on wide-scale efforts to repress the vote as Trump. Trump doesn't want y'all voting. He doesn't want Americans voting. He thinks only wealthy folks should vote. And when America votes, though, America will be heard. When America's heard, the message is going to be out loud and clear. It's time for Donald Trump to pack his bags and go home. Go home. Look, we're done with the chaos. We're done with the racism. We're done with the tweets, the anger, the hate, the failure, the irresponsibility. But we got a lot of work to do, folks. If I'm elected president, we're going to act. On day one, we're going to act to get COVID under control. On day one of my presidency, I'll put in action a plan that I've been talking about for months. Masking, social distancing, testing, tracing. A plan for full and fair and free distribution of therapeutics and vaccines when we get one. And most importantly, we hadn't done yet, a plan that addresses the fact that we can get everybody access to the vaccine when it comes. Folks, there's over 300 million people in America. Everyone is going to get help. The plan to address the disproportionate way the virus is heading the black community and minority communities. We're seeing race-based disparities all across every aspect of this virus. Higher infection rates, lower access to testing.
Yeah, this is everybody's picking. This is our favorite sign language interpreter. He is is it translator or interpreter? This is by far our favorite guy.
Higher mortality rates, 3 times as high as the white population. 1 in 1,000 black Americans have died from COVID so far. And by the end of this pandemic, if things continue as he's allowing them to until the next president takes office, there will be another 200,000 deaths projected. And that'll mean 1 in 500 African Americans.
So there's a little bit of Joe Biden. We're going to listen to a little bit of Donald Trump. I hope to hear from you guys. Now, I'm realizing there's something a little tricky going on. I said that to open the phone lines, we're counting Twitch subs. We have this unfortunate situation where we are losing subscribers because there's a lot of a lot of Twitch subs are just for a month, the Twitch Prime ones. And it just so happens because this is a normal time that I stream that everybody who signed up a month ago, the numbers are decreasing, which is really sad to see. But I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. So I think that we actually have 2 more. And the last one was don't be yourself, be better. So that actually puts us at 24. I want to make sure everybody absolutely counts. And then a few other super chats that I want. Oh, and I'm sorry. And also Chris Lingo. Chris Lingo is new member number 25 today. So everybody will count, and I will open phone lines. And at this point, as you know, we're listening to a little bit of Biden. We're going to listen to a little bit of Trump. These rallies are all the same. It's more about, having the community here and hearing from you guys, hearing what's on everybody's minds and that sort of thing. So now, by the way, we will be counting memberships that arrive after November 3rd. This is actually potentially because of the 60. This is a good question from Twitch chat. Because the 66% discount is illegal in some of the states where it's legal to marry your cousin, there is a lot of stuff caught up in the courts right now. And even if your membership arrives after November 3rd, we are counting all memberships regardless of coupon code, regardless of platform. We're counting them all. And, William Barr can go to hell. I don't care what he says. It's all counting. And that's extremely exciting. Okay, a few other. Oh, this is important. Bearded Bullets says, imagine spending 3.5 years studying a subject only to realize there's a large portion of the population that ignores the most basic concepts therein. It is literally maddening. Yeah, I was actually pretty depressed last week when we got these GDP numbers. Oh, GDP up 33% or whatever. And, in my story, this is a channel that's mostly adults. Like, there's not really kids. And I'm not bragging, when I and many other people were 10, we understood if you start with 100, if you lose 50%, you then need to gain 100% to get back to 100. Okay. Simple concept on rates of change. I did a segment where you would think in other countries, like if in Japan, in Israel, in Sweden, if they saw the clip I did last week where I go, hey guys, we lost 31% GDP and then we gained 33, but those are quarterly numbers that were annualized. And these are rates of change. You have to go changes the denominator. They would have thought this program was for middle school. I have no other way to say it. They would have thought in other countries, if you see me putting up the chart I put up, that's like 100 minus 31% is 69 plus 33% is only 92. So down 31 plus 33, you're still down 8. You would imagine this is a channel meant to teach 10, 11, 12-year-olds simple math. And that's unfortunately the situation in which we find ourselves right now. It's a disaster. I get it. It's a complete and total disaster. Okay, other super chats. Paul says, wondering how much negative press Cobb Fefe there will be tomorrow and if NARS will be mentioned. Who knows? Who knows? I hope you will all join me tomorrow night. Kyle says a judge ruled in Las Vegas that polling procedures will not change after attempts have been made by the Trump re-election campaign. Now Trump will likely sue Clark County if it goes blue. Speaking of which, producer Pat put together I'm not kidding here, a very powerful document called Bellwether Counties. There are a bunch of counties that almost always the winner of these counties wins the presidency. So let me give you an example, okay? Vigo, Indiana. Since what year? Since 1888, only twice has Vigo County not voted for the eventual winner of the presidency, okay? They missed it in 1908 and 1952. Since 56, Vigo County is perfect in that the national results go with what happens in Vigo County. Correlation is not causation, blah, 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 all that stuff. But we're going to be tracking this. Let me give you another example. What's another good one? Let's see here. An interesting one. Okay. Essex, Virginia. Essex County, Virginia. Since 1948, only once has Essex, Virginia not voted for the winning candidate. So individually, these are just correlations. But if tomorrow we look at, for example, the 11 counties with only one miss, and one candidate has 8 of them early, that certainly is something that would give us an idea of the way that the night is going. And by the way, North Carolina at 7:45 will probably also give us an idea of the direction that things are going. Okay. Other super chats coming in. Let's see. Sabrina says, David, thanks for the great time last night. Wow. Oh my God. That's aggressive. Devora says, Generation Z, any opinions on the U.S. political impact in the next decade or so? Let's deal with that. That's a post-election question. That's a post-election question. Sam, by the way, what is going on here? Is this Trump's plane that is here, or is this Pence's plane to take him out? Does anybody know what's going on? Because I'm actually not understanding what's happening right now. Anybody know? Let's listen. Oh my God. Okay. Well, we're listening to it all. And by the way, does anybody want to hear a little bit more of Joe Biden? What do you guys think? Or have we heard enough and now we'll just wait for a little bit of Trump? I just don't understand why the plane is in the dark. I really don't. Anybody? Any ideas? A little more Biden, maybe no Biden. People don't want Biden. Wait for Trump. Oh, it's dark because it's nighttime. I didn't understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks, guys. Thanks. I didn't really understand that. All right, let's do like 5 more minutes of Biden.
And then when I got elected vice president, it said it's probable no man has ever assumed the office of vice president with fewer assets than Joe Biden. I assume they weren't speaking about intellectual assets. It could have been, but who knows? But look, here's my point. Trump, and the only taxes that we've been able to find out through the New York Times, the 1 year he paid $750 in taxes.
Right.
Trump keeps talking about corruption. When's the last time you heard of a president having a secret bank account in China? Which he did, we just found out, where he paid 50 times more tax in China than he did in the United States. Every time he starts talking about corruption, I say, release your tax return. What in the hell are you hiding? What are you hiding? Not one. Anyway, I won't get into it. Look, we're going to act.
No joke. One of my favorite things about Biden is when he decides to get away from like a direction that he's going and he talks himself out of it. I love it for some reason.
Well, if they get their way, 100 million Americans will lose the protections for pre-existing conditions, including more than 5 million people here in the United States. Here in the state of Pennsylvania. Over 100 million in the United States. Millions of black Americans will be left uninsured and denied health coverage because of pre-existing conditions. And there are more pre-existing conditions in poorer communities than there are in others. Donald Trump thinks health care is a privilege. I think it's a right. Look, I'll not only restore Obamacare, I'll build on it. You can keep your private insurance if you like it. You can choose Medicare like public option. I'm going to increase subsidies to lower your premiums, deductibles, out-of-pocket expenses, out-of-pocket spending, surprise billing. I'm going to lower prescription drugs by 60%, and that's the truth. But by the way, how are you going to do it, Joe? Because those wealthy people are going to start paying their fair share. It's not about punishing everyone, it's about being fair. We'll make sure the protections for people with pre-existing conditions remain. And meanwhile, Trump publicly said, if he's reelected, he's going to defund Social Security payments. The actuary at Social Security Department said if he does that, that will eliminate Medicare by 2023. After all the people rely on Medicare. It's not going to happen, by the way. We're not going to let it happen. But that's his plan. So go home and tell your grandparents and parents we'll protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, which he won't do. And finally, vote to deliver some we need a vote now to deliver some racial justice in America. Look, a season of protest has broken out all across this nation. Protesting is not burning and looting and violence. That can't be tolerated, it won't. But those protests are a cry for justice in the name of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Jacob Blake, Walter Wallace Jr. They're not going to soon be forgotten. They're not going to be forgotten by me, not by us, not by this country. They'll inspire a whole new wave of justice in America. When I met with Floyd's family, he has a little daughter who survived him. She's 6 years old. And I knelt down and I talked to her. I started to talk to her. You know what she said? She looked at me and said, Mr. Vice President.
All right. We are getting very close to the start of the Trump event. We are going to be opening the phone lines if we get to 100 new members and Twitch subs, and I think we're getting close. I'm going to run the numbers in a second, but I think we've just had about 40 people drop in via Twitch. I really would love it if you grabbed a membership at joinpacman.com. The last few weeks, actually, a lot of people have written to me saying, David, I've got to cancel because of what's going on financially going into the second wave. People getting reduced hours, businesses slowing down in some of the most affected states. And I totally get that. So in order to sort of counterbalance some of these understandable cancellations, I would love it if you had a couple bucks a month. Grab a membership at joinpacman.com. The coupon code above my head goes away tomorrow. The coupon code is over. We've got to destroy the evidence from these illegal discounts. So tomorrow, what with the election, we will be ending the discount 2020 now. Take advantage of it, grab it, and then if we do get to 100, I'll even interrupt the Trump rally because, like, we know what he's going to say, you know. It's always the same crap, different day. We will strongly open the phone lines, and I look forward to hearing from you guys. Let's see what's happening here. Oh, perfect timing, huh?
Thank you. Oh, wow. This is a big crowd. We have a lot of big crowds, but this is a big crowd.
The hat is so stupid. I mean, it's just so dumb.
Hello, Traverse City, and hello, Michigan. We want the same result as we had 4 years ago from Michigan, right?
That we don't.
We fulfilled all our promises. You have auto plants, so many. You didn't have one in 42 years, and now you have 17.
Those are lies.
They're going up, and they're going so fast, I don't know.
That's just a flat-out lie.
Complaining, I can tell you that. But we want that same result. We're going to get out and vote because tomorrow we are going to win the state, and we are going to win 4 more years in the White House. And I want to thank you to our great Vice President, Mike Pence. He works so hard. I will take him over Kamala every day.
Oh, again with the Kamala.
We will take Mike. He's great. He's great. He's done a great job. He works very hard. And he had a good debate. Didn't he have a good debate against Kamala?
Yeah, the fly one.
From a different world. With your vote, we will continue to cut your taxes, cut regulations, support our police, support our great military, protect our Second Amendment, defend religious liberty, and ensure more products are proudly stamped with that beautiful term, made in the USA, right? Made in the USA.
Right.
Next year will be the greatest economic year in the history of our country. You know, you had...
With him gone, let's hope.
Last year, the year before, 3 great years, the best you've ever had, and you're going to have the best year you ever had next year. We're all set. You saw what happened under my leadership. Our economy is now growing at the fastest rate ever recorded. 33.
That's that stupid math we were just talking about.
On Friday. We created a record 11.4 million jobs in the last 5 months. That's a record. While foreign nations are in a free fall, sadly in a free fall. You look at what's happening with Europe and
Trump's sad, yeah.
It's very sad. We are creating an economic powerhouse unrivaled anywhere in the world. You look at our numbers, look at the auto numbers, look at what's happening with that business and so many other businesses in this country, but that business because we happen to be in a place that likes automobiles, right?
A recent Gallup poll just came out.
Recent Gallup.
Now that 56% of Americans say they are better off today than they were 4 years ago under Obama and Biden. And that's during a pandemic, and we're rounding the corner. We're rounding the corner. And you got to open your states. You got to open your state. Open it up, Governor. Open it up, Governor. Right? Open it up, Governor. Got to open it up. If Biden and Harris and the radical left gain power, they will collapse our economy and send our nation into a very steep depression. They want to raise taxes at a level that nobody's ever heard of before. Biden will raise your taxes over $4 trillion. Man, it's not him. Do you think it's him? He doesn't have a clue.
There's the Biden dementia stuff.
But that's okay. Let's assume he does. We have to win, so that's it. Can't do that to our country. Our country has too much unbelievable potential, actually. Massively increasing your regulations, shutting down your economy. They're going to close down your factories, send your jobs overseas to China and other places. I don't think so. Destroy the suburbs. Are you happy in the suburbs that I ended the regulation that was going to destroy the suburbs? That has been destroying the suburbs. The women of the suburbs, they love me, I think, but you know, the fake news says they don't, but I think they do. They love their home, they love their house. They don't want a development put next to their house. They want their house the way
What he means is black people, guys.
have their beautiful house.
It's a euphemism for black people.
Safety. I think they like Trump. I really do. That happened the last time. That happened 4 years ago. Remember, they said women will not vote for Donald Trump at that time. Women will not. And then at the end of the evening when they're all crying, they say, women, what happened? The women came out, right? We're women, the women liked us. That's nice. Well, I like the women, I will tell you. I think the women are great.
There you go.
You notice we don't even talk about the men with suburbia. We let you guys be alone. They want to dissolve your borders. Maybe rip down the wall. They were talking about that. Let's take down the wall. You know, we have our strongest border right now, and the wall is almost complete. Mexico is paying for the wall.
Almost complete. That's the lie. That's a second lie.
Terminate religious liberty, outlaw private health care. 180 million people. They want to take it away, go to socialized.
Imagine thinking Biden wants to outlaw private health care. There's people on the left who are furious that Biden doesn't want to do that. And Trump's saying that's what he wants to do.
Private plans, take it away. Now, if you feel a little bad or if you want a checkup, you go to a hospital, you wait online for about 6 weeks, and you get yourself checked out. If they say you have a problem, they can't do anything about it. That's called socialized medicine.
Trump has no idea how
Confiscate your guns,
hospitals even work.
Second Amendment. And indoctrinate your children with anti-American lies. And just a little while ago on the beautiful Air Force One, how does it look? Let me see. Oh, you don't see it. By the way, how about the sky? Wow.
Vote Trump because of sunsets.
Let's just look at the sky for a little while. I wish we had time, right? I wish we had time. So, you know, I've made, we'll do 5 today, 5 of these. All with love, all with big crowds, all with...
Yeah, by the way, 6-week waits aren't that rare for specialists now, and there's no socialism. It's weird.
I said I actually do 6 today because we finished up last night in Miami at 1:30 in the morning, so thank you. Oh, thank you very much.
You know, they've never chanted that before. Nobody's ever chanted that before.
Don't make me cry. Don't
let's
make
see
me
if he
cry.
does that.
You know, if I started to cry, they'd have a big story. They'd say, the president broke down and cried. And I don't know if that's good for us. Probably could. Maybe it brings me up 4 or 5 points, I promise, huh? I don't care. But that's really nice. You know, it's never been said before. They said,
There it is.
we've liked Ronald Reagan.
So predictable.
They said that's
Never been done before, that chant.
you. Think of it when you think about it, right? No, it's an incredible thing. We've worked hard. We've gotten you everything we said. We've done the things we said. We've done the things we said. We get you the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history.
What happened to that health care plan that was 2 weeks away from becoming law, by the way?
Percent approval rating on what we've done for them. We've got you Space Force, and you'll be making a lot of this stuff right here in Michigan. Space Force is the first. That is the first time in 74 years since Air Force. Think of that, right? A whole new force. I just signed an executive order on Air Force One to teach our students pro-American values.
Important stuff, guys, that he's signing there. More like Air Force One.
All the things that I've been watching that have been taking place over a pretty long period of time. Even before Obama and Sleepy Joe. Biden has vowed to abolish the American oil and natural gas industries and to ban fracking. Look, he said it. He campaigned for over a year.
I wish he would phase out fracking. That'd be great.
We will ban fracking. Then he goes to Pennsylvania. And they say, well, you know, his people told him he didn't have any idea what they meant, but it was okay. He listens to them. They said, listen, you have to be in favor of fracking now. He said, okay, no problem. Why? I only said it about 200 times during debates, right? So they've been. So now he goes into Pennsylvania, where we just left. Great people, by the way. You talk about that was an unbelievably enthusiastic group of people. We're going to win Pennsylvania. We're going to win. We're going to win Michigan.
Right. Guess we'll see.
We're going to win Pennsylvania. We won Pennsylvania last time too. We won this one. This one hadn't been won for many, many years, and Pennsylvania the same thing. It wouldn't. But then Trump came along. We won them both. We beat Crooked Hillary.
Will he talk about her emails again?
Now we have a guy that makes Hillary look like a baby. No, we've had a good time. And until the China plague came along, everything was good. We closed it down. We saved 2 million lives.
They said, sir, you've tested positive for the China plague.
See the hat, all the Make America Great Again. Now we're having it Make America Great Again, you know. And our country was coming together. You know, the other side was calling. Everybody was successful. Best numbers for unemployment, African American, Hispanic American. And by the way, do you see what's going on?
Inuit American.
African American, the numbers are phenomenal. Hispanic American, the numbers are beyond belief.
Arab American.
They got problems. You notice they haven't been talking too much about Florida for the last 6 or 7 hours. They're not liking what they see. They're not, wow, that is a lot of people. Look, you can't even see. Why don't you take the cameras
Turn the
down?
cameras. Turn the
You can't
cameras.
even see the end. I hope you can hear us down there. It's like 2 football fields away. I hope you can hear us.
Football.
That's great. Well, that's really good. But no, Florida's looking great. You're looking great. Came out too.
I do think Trump will end up with Florida. I do think that. I don't think he's wrong, and he may have gotten some of that same information that started to spread about Florida early voting.
Alan, we won't even talk about it, but you're looking great. North Carolina, great. Iowa came out. The big poll came out yesterday. You saw it?
Huge poll.
And we were a lot up. Big up. Well, the farmers like me.
We're big up.
I got, for the farmers, $28 billion. I got $28 billion from China. Thank you very much, China.
Socialism. Jeez. Wow.
Because they targeted the farmers. And I said to Sonny Perdue, Secretary of Agriculture,
give them money.
Sonny, how much? He said, well, 2 years ago it was 12, and last year was 16 billion, 12 billion. A total of 28 billion.
Give him the cash, as Trump says.
Billion. We had a lot of money left over into the Treasury, and we gave it to the farmers, and the farmers are not complaining. I'll tell you, they're in business.
Wow. You gave people money, and they accepted it. Shocking stuff, huh?
Biden's energy ban will send every state into crushing poverty and you know this, you know what they're doing, from Michigan to Wisconsin to Arizona, where we're leading very nicely, thank you, and to Pennsylvania. As long as I'm president.
Is there any state Trump would admit he's losing in, or does he just not mention those states?
On Earth. And we will remain energy independent. We're energy independent for the first time. First time. That means we don't have to call people up in faraway places and say, we need some oil, please. We'll send our armies over there to protect you and help you. But we do have great allies over there. We'll help them.
What is the latest Arizona data, by the way? Let me see here.
Good people over there. We'll help them. But we don't need their oil. It's nice not to need. We have more oil than they do now. You know, we have actually more oil.
Okay, it's tight.
We're the largest in the world. Isn't
It's
that
tight.
nice, really? Sleepy Joe, and that would not have happened except for what we've done over the last 3.5 years. There's never been an administration or president. There's never been an administration that has done in the first 3.5 years what we've done. Never, and not even close.
Most people would never think of doing the things Trump's done because they're all horribly immoral.
And the fake news never even questions it. I've been saying it for a long time. They don't even question it because they can't. Joe Biden is a globalist who spent 47 years outsourcing your jobs, opening your borders, and sacrificing American blood and treasure in endless, ridiculous foreign wars. Countries you never even heard of. A vote for Biden is a vote to extinguish and eradicate your state's auto industry. You don't like that, do you? I don't think so.
So far, I guess he's used euphemisms for minorities and for Jews, right? People who will live in developments that they build in the suburbs. Like that's code for, you know, black and brown people. Globalist, even if he doesn't know it, has historically been a way to conspiracize about Jews. Am I missing anything so far?
It's probably the number one reason I ran for president. And in fact, I was in Michigan. I don't know if anybody remembers this. 12 years ago, they gave me the Man of the Year. You remember?
Oh, God.
And I made a speech and I said, why are you letting, you know, it's not my business, but I said, why are you letting them steal your auto jobs? They're all going down to Mexico.
Auto.
By the way, plenty go to Canada too, right? People don't know that. And it was a terrible thing that took place, but we've stopped that. And now the USMCA makes it very, very financially difficult for them to do that. It was very important to me. And everybody said, we'll never be able to do it. We'll never be able to end NAFTA. And you know why? Because it was so good for Canada. And
I'm sure most of you know that USMCA is not dramatically different than NAFTA, and that the issue of trade, I said this yesterday, I can't help but try to, you know, give people information. The issue of trade is far more complicated than Donald Trump wants to account for. And generally speaking, trade is good for countries. It's particularly good for smaller countries than bigger countries. The U.S. is big enough that we could manufacture most stuff ourselves, but you'd still in many cases need to import certain raw materials. We would probably have a small, but the point is, if we stop trading because we tariff everybody so much because we're big and strong, we would have a small reduction to GDP, but it would be a reorganization where we would have to accept that many of our things would just be more expensive. And our entire economy is based around, let's get cheap stuff from China. That's the genesis of where we are today, started with that idea. Anyway, what am I even, who am I talking to here?
Sleepy Joe supported China's entry into the WTO. Michigan lost half of all auto manufacturing jobs after those Biden betrayals. He also supported the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been the death sentence for the U.S. auto industry. I canceled TPP, I ended the NAFTA disaster, and I took the toughest action ever taken against China. We never took in 10 cents on China. I've taken in billions and billions of dollars over the last 2 years.
See, this is another example. If you put a 10% tariff on Chinese steel, the American company pays China for the steel and pays the Treasury for the tariff. Now, there are those who will say, well, China will have to reduce the price of steel by 10%. So China loses the 10%, and worst case, the business is even. That takes time, and it doesn't apply when it's difficult to change supply lines. But again, look who I'm arguing against. The guy who called Michael Flynn in the middle of the night and said, Is a strong dollar good or bad for us, Mike? That's who I'm talking to about trade.
We were just beginning, and not only with China, with everyone else that takes advantage of our country.
Dear God.
Thank you very much. No, but with everybody else that takes it, it's not only China, it's everybody. We renegotiated the South Korea deal, you know that. That was a deal. Crooked Hillary made that deal. It was going to give 250,000 jobs. She was talking, this will produce 250,000 jobs. They signed it, and she ended up being correct. But the 250,000 jobs all went to South Korea, not to us. That was standard. That was standard.
It's funny when people nod as if they've ever heard of these anecdotes before.
Decrepit and depraved, political crass, they got rich, bleeding America dry. And you know what happened?
Evil.
Look, there haven't been too many states that have been affected like you've been affected. You got seriously affected.
Are they chanting Yankees suck? Bring your socks?
That's
What are they saying?
We're doing it. We're doing it. But when I ran, you never told
Drain
me
the
it was
swamp.
gonna be
Oh my
deep,
God.
That vicious, that rough. It's a deep sucker. I thought would knock it out fast.
Sucker.
We went through 3.5 years of hell, and here we are, and they're not too happy, and they're reeling. They're reeling. They're going to be knocked off very soon. They're going to be all knocked off.
Knocked off?
Very soon.
By the way, I see people asking for mercy bans. You don't really need a mercy ban today because we're just 3 members or Twitch subs from opening phone lines. And then we can just watch and I'll talk to you guys about what's on your minds. And today was a very, very special event where not only does signing up at joinpacman.com move the bar closer to 100, even just normal Twitch subs and Twitch Prime subs, they all count. So I'm glad to end it. Believe me, it's not like I want to hear another one of these.
Go up and they say, let's impeach him. I'll tell you. And we had great support from the Republican Party. I have to say that 197 to nothing in the House. 52.5 to 1/2. You know who the half was? That's right. We had 52.5 to 1/2. Mitt Romney. He still doesn't know why. He's saying, let's see, why did I do that? He wished he didn't do it, I'll tell you that. In 2016, Michigan voted to fire this corrupt political establishment, and you elected an outsider as president to finally put America first.
He says that in every state he won. Fire the corrupt political
And if I don't sound
establishment.
like a typical Washington politician, it's because
I'm not
a
one.
politician. Probably wouldn't be here if I were. And if I don't always play by the rules of Washington and the Washington establishment, it's because I was elected to fight for you, and I fight harder and harder and harder.
Harder.
And better than anyone's ever fought for you. We were brought here, we were put here to fight for you. I had a very easy life before this, I have to tell you.
He didn't have to be here with you people.
Thank you. Thank you.
Consider the absurdity of the crowd chanting thank you to the billionaire, thanking him for taking a break from his great life to be their president. Think about the stupidity that we have in this country where that's a chant at a political rally. It's sick, actually.
This lady, she was actually one of the people. She said, are you sure you want to do this? First lady, people love the first lady. They do.
Do they?
They love her. She's good. She's elegant, and she puts up with a lot from these people.
Elegant.
You know, it's like unbelievable. But she said, but are you sure you want to do this? And I say, I think I do. Yeah, I think I do. She said, you know you will win if you do it. You must be sure.
You must be sure.
So? I said, you think
She
so?
said, sir, let's run for president.
But the question is, do you want to do it? I said, yeah, we do. We have to set this nation back on the right course.
Right. Talk about narcissism.
No, she said that. I'll never forget that. That was sort of cool. You know, it's just like second nature. You know, you win. You know, we're running against a lot of very talented people. And then we had to run against a very talented, crooked machine. Joe Biden is bought and paid for by big tech, big media, and powerful special interests. You saw that over the last couple of weeks. All the corruption, and they refuse to even talk about it. Could you imagine if I got $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's way? Or one of my kids took $3.5 million from, can you imagine that? And they refuse to even discuss it. They don't want to discuss it. There is no proof. They now say the laptop from hell was produced by Russia. This was Schiff, Watermelon Head, right? The laptop was produced by Russia. And we say, oh, no, not again.
This is you guys know this is the president, right?
John Ratcliffe came out immediately. He's great. He's doing a great job. He said it was not produced by Russia. So. But that's what they try and do. They do disinformation.
Did you hear someone yelled Biden's a pedophile? That's now a thing?
They own him. They control Biden. And they know he will always do whatever they want. They know that. That's why they want him. I definitely don't do what they want. I definitely don't.
It is weird, Trump making fun of other people's physical appearance. I know.
Let's say they had Biden. Their ratings will collapse. Every one of them will be out of business. They'll be out of business so fast. Every corrupt they will be out of business so fast. In fact, I think they're going to get together. The New York Times will die. The failing New York Times. Washington Post, which is basically a lobbyist for Bezos. You know that. But they'll all get together and they'll say, listen, we made a big mistake here. We got to draft Trump. We got to get him to run again. This is no good.
Right.
We're dying. Nobody cares. Can you imagine that, having Biden? We're going to put something up. Can you imagine having Biden as your president? The biggest loser will be the fake news media.
Any second, Trump's going to go into the specifics of that health care bill from 3 months ago. We're going to hear how that's going to work.
Very badly. You know why everyone's watching politics? Because they find politics to be much rougher than the NFL. It's much dirtier and more disgusting, and they don't change. You know, in the NFL, they change the rules. They make everything like coming back. You can't touch anybody. Somebody tackles too hard. They say 15-yard penalty and you're out of the game and you're out for the season. You know, in the old days, right? It was a little different, but it's still tough. But this is much tougher. And people see it. But you have to see the ratings. That's why the ratings are bad for a lot of the sports.
Right.
Nobody ever thought of this, but I thought of it. A couple of people wrote it. The ratings are bad because so many people are watching this. It's tougher.
Yeah. Trump's rallies are affecting sports
ratings.
ratings.
Please run again. We think we're going to endorse you. I got endorsed by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. I got endorsed first.
He's not
time
sure.
since
He's asking other people.
1972.
Yes, sir. Yes.
That they endorsed, right? That's a big deal. A big newspaper, very good, a very liberal newspaper, but that's okay. But first time since 1972 that they endorsed a Republican, so it's an honor. And if you don't read the first 2 or 3 paragraphs, it was one of the best endorsements.
If you don't read
we
the
don't
first
like
2
him.
paragraphs.
Yes, he has a horrible personality. But listen to this. It's not that I do, but I have been under siege illegally
Right.
for 3.5 years. I've been fighting for 3.5 years.
He's going to name the laws that were broken here, guys. Get ready.
If the fake Russia hoax and all this crap with the impeachment over nothing, over a phone call that was perfect.
Perfect phone call.
That was perfect. I wonder what it would be like if we didn't have all of this horrible stuff.
So it is the exact same speech from last night. So I'm going to open up the phone lines myself. If you want to talk to me, we will continue monitoring this, but I want to hear from some of you guys. You can go to davidpakman.com/discord. That's DISCORD. Get in the waiting lobby if you want to talk to me, waiting lobby, and make sure that you have Discord set to do not disturb, or we will be hearing really annoying noises and we will have to hang up, unfortunately. And change your nickname to location:name. So if your name, for example, was Jebediah and you were in Wasilla, you would put Wasilla:Jebediah. Okay, that'll give us perfect audio. And it's davidpakman.com/discord. I'll get myself connected. And remember, once you connect, listen to the stream through Discord, because otherwise you'll be on a delay and it'll be really embarrassing when I try to talk to you.
I'm here tonight. Great people in the White House. But it's true. I wonder if it would have been different, if they didn't, because these were all, We caught them spying on our campaign. We caught them trying to take out a duly elected president of the United States. That's treason. That's treason. We caught them. And someday, maybe something's going to be done about it, too, you know? Maybe. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. They can't. We don't want to do anything prior to the election. Well, what about me? They did it. They did it to me before they spied on my campaign before the election.
Here we go.
We shouldn't do anything prior to the election. And you know who we caught? Barack Hussein Obama and Sleepy Joe Biden. They were a part of it. We ought to get these reports out. They should get them out before the election.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned. They should get them out right before the election. Should have gotten them out a long time ago. We have information you wouldn't even believe it. I don't even get involved. I always said I'm going to stay uninvolved. Very hard for.
All right, let's. I want to hear from some of you guys. Let's go to davidpakman.com/discord. Remember, if you want to talk to me, get in the waiting lobby, the audio waiting lobby. Make sure you understand how Discord works. Change your nickname to location:name. Location:name. Let me first go to. Let me go to Tucker from Vermont. Tucker from Vermont, you are on with me. What's going on?
Hello, David. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. My question to you, also big time fan. I started watching you back in December 2019 when the election started rolling around. So
thank you
for that. My question to you is, back in the last debate, Trump had brought up this factoid about Vermont, which is very true in that our state governor tried to get past a single payer system.
Yes.
And that had ultimately failed. So my question for you is it truly impossible for states to implement their own single payer system since they don't really have the big weight of collective bargaining that a whole country would have?
I think it is possible. I don't know the full Monday morning quarterbacking on what happened in Vermont, but my understanding is that there was some pretty significant mismanagement, and also there's a double-edged sword in Vermont, which is because it's a state that has a small population. It's easier to do something like this and to test it. But on the other hand, because Vermont geographically, I mean, it's small, but it's not tiny, and the population is very spread out, that it presents a challenge for doing it. So my understanding is that it's not, there's nothing systemic that was proven that wouldn't work because Vermont failed. I think it's more complicated than that, and there are specific reasons why.
Oh, I truly agree. My biggest thing is a lot of piggybacking on the reasons that you just said, where our markets are very small, we're very rural, and our people are generally healthy, so they don't usually have a large need of healthcare. So it's one of those things where I don't know if the states could go around the federal government and pass that if they didn't have big enough markets to begin with.
I think that it can be done in states of various sizes, but it's got to be done right. And hopefully, listen, if Democrats take the Senate and Joe Biden wins, I would love to see another state give it a shot.
Yep, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for taking my time.
All right, thank you very much. There is Vermont. Let's go next to Rim from the country of Latvia. Rim from Latvia, you're on the air.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. I'm a long-time fan. I'm curious why you were skeptical about Florida going to Trump. I heard you were saying that it would go to him, but
yeah. So I have some people that work in Democratic politics in some particular parts of Florida, and they all are saying the exact same thing, which is when you look at early voting, it's almost perfectly split 50-50, not 50-50, but it's perfectly split like 40-40 or 35-35 between Democrats and Republicans. And then the independent vote is about 20% or whatever the numbers are. What I'm hearing is the independents, including a lot of Latinos, are ending up with, more of them are ending up with Trump than we might imagine. And that's the reason that there's some concern about Florida going Biden. But I mean, the good news is Trump needs Florida. Biden doesn't need Florida.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, by the way, are you a native English speaker or because your English is excellent if you're not?
Well, thank you. I get that a lot, but I guess I've lived a lot abroad, I guess.
Got it. All right. Well, listen, I hope you're with us for the election tomorrow night.
Definitely. I'll be watching.
Very nice. Okay, excellent. Let's go next to Adam from Montreal. Adam from Montreal, you were on next. Adam from Montreal, you were on. You can unmute yourself. I would love to hear from you. Last opportunity for Adam from Montreal. All right. And Adam from Montreal is gone. Gone. Let's go next to a Ty from Kansas City. Now, is this Kansas City, Missouri or Kansas City, Kansas?
Hi, David. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
This is on the Kansas side.
Oh my God. I've never known anyone from the Kansas side.
I don't actually live in Kansas City, Kansas. I live in the overall metro area. I'm actually in Johnson County, Kansas.
Okay. Wow. So then you're way out there, essentially. Good. All right. What's on your mind?
All right. I have a non-political question, if I could.
Okay.
I've noticed when you get callers, oftentimes you'll get irritated with the background noise.
Right.
Yes. I wanted to ask, do you think you might have misophonia by any chance? Or do you know what misophonia is?
What is that? Is that an annoyance with idiocy?
Close, I guess. Misophonia is a sensitivity to certain sounds. It's also called selective sound. I can't remember the.
I think it's being triggered by your mic right now. If I have it.
Oh, sorry about that. Is it coming through kind of hot?
No, listen. You're onto something, which is like if I'm trying to sleep, and there's leaf blowers going on outside. Yeah. It's over. I'm up. I can't. There's certain sounds I can't sleep through, no matter what, and they definitely bother me. But I don't know that I have misophonia.
Okay. Well, I say because I do. When I hear certain sounds, it triggers the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, just snaps. Yeah.
What's an example sound that would trigger that?
Loud cars for me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I find the really loud motorcycles annoying, but more because I find the people annoying. It's not the noise itself. It's the idea that someone thinks it's cool to drive by outdoor seating and rev up their motorcycle.
Well, yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. But it's also just loud bangs, people yelling, just stuff that annoys people just regularly, just makes me very irritated unreasonably. I can't really control it.
Does soup, how some people slurp soup very loudly? Does that bother you?
For some people, misophonia is chewing sounds, people tapping on tables and stuff.
Yeah.
For me, it's none of those things. It's mostly loud bass noises, loud music. Someone said farts in the chat. Farts don't upset me. No.
Okay.
Usually just yelling and loud bass noises, cars.
Perfect.
And trucks and stuff like that.
All right. Well, we will. I will get an audiologist on here right away, and we will figure out if I have it.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks very much for the call. A lot of things on people's minds today. Let's go to, I don't know if it's Andrea or Andrea from Portland, Oregon you were on. Andrea/Andrea from Portland, Oregon you're on.
It's Andrea.
Andrea, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Oh my gosh, I am a huge fan.
Thank you.
Actually, watching your show has actually encouraged my teenage son to learn about politics and has actually helped educate my mother, who never really learned anything and just kind of voted not in her best interest.
That's fantastic news.
Yeah, no, we've gotten my whole family fired up. And even my husband, who never voted at all, registered for the first time this year and voted with me, and it was really exciting.
That's incredible. That's fantastic. It's really funny, Andrew. I'll mention this. We had a phone call last week where someone called in and said, "Hey, you convinced me to vote." That, it was brought to my attention, got posted in a bunch of like ultra left Reddit subreddits where people were saying, "Stupid neoliberal Pac-Man got people to vote. for Biden. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the better option. What you think I'm going to participate in getting people not to vote? Is that what you think I'm going to be doing? It was really weird, Andrea. And more than likely, this phone call will be misused in the same way.
No, and my husband, he used to think that, well, Trump was, America thought that we needed a businessman, and
right.
He goes, I think we were wrong on that. I think
right.
we out what was the root problem that made us think that we needed something other than a politician, and that's still an issue.
Well, the question that I asked back when Mitt Romney, remember Willard Mittens Romney, who was running for president a few years ago?
Yes.
When he was running under the auspices of being a businessman, the question I had at the time was, what evidence do we have that a businessman would make a good president? And I think people would point to some very obscure president who was not a president in the modern, like it was completely irrelevant, and Trump isn't even as good a businessman as Mitt Romney. Like, I don't like the business that Mitt Romney made his money in, but I find it predatory. But at least Mitt Romney was a businessman, whether Trump just, made buildings with the money his dad gave him.
Like self-made man, he was I handed a silver platter man. Like there was no, I started from nothing and worked. I love that Biden. I heard something today where he's like, why is it that I am not qualified because I didn't go to an Ivy League school?
Right.
I mean, does that make me less of a man? Oh, that moved me because I had my education from a state school, but I'm still a successful woman.
Right.
I can still teach children how to educate themselves, prepare for the future, and do things for their best interest. And so
no question,
we've gotten my whole family fired up, and for my husband to be a registered voter now and to be excited with me, he's just telling me, honey, just don't watch a lot of the news. I don't want your blood pressure to get too high.
Right.
So, he's a truck driver, so he definitely once he realized just how much all this stuff affects even what he does just day to day, he's very excited to see the outcome. So
that's absolutely fantastic. It's a success story. Listen, Andrea, before I let you go, a taco, is it a form of a sandwich or not?
My husband's favorite food, and so that's pretty awesome you asked me about that. A taco I think is a form of a actually, you know what? It's a form of a sandwich because it is two pieces pulled together with something in the middle.
Right. Okay.
A different way of looking at it. Yeah, no, you're right. It is a sandwich because he loves eating them because that way he can get them and eat them while he's driving. So there is some logic to that.
All right, Andrea, unfortunately, that is the wrong answer. So I'm going to let you go, okay?
All right. Well, you take care, David, and thank you so much. You've been so wonderful. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Very much appreciate that. And there is Andrea from Portland. Absolutely fantastic. Let's go next to Lawrence from St. Louis. Lawrence from St. Louis, you're on the air.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Can I weigh in on this whole taco sandwich situation real quick?
Only if it's completely necessary.
All right. In that case, never mind.
Okay.
If you have an exact number prediction on the election.
You have an exact prediction, you're saying. Sorry, whoa, hold on a second. We're start. Let's back up. You have a prediction for the election. Go ahead and give it to me.
Oh, I think Biden's up 6.5% popular vote, 85 electoral votes.
Okay, now when you say plus 85 electoral, that I don't have the number. What exactly does that make the split? How many does Biden get?
312, 313.
Okay, so that's a bit of a more conservative estimate than 538, for example.
Yeah, I think he loses Florida, personally.
Okay, yeah.
I think he loses Georgia and Ohio with both.
Right.
And then I'm back and forth on Arizona as well.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're in a similar spot. I mean, I'm being more conservative than 538 for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see who's right. Somebody's going to be.
Okay. Good luck out there. Thanks for the call.
All right. Thank you. You called me. I appreciate you calling. I should be thanking you. Let's see here. Let's go next to Manuel from Texas. Manuel, you're on the air. Manuel from Texas. You are on.
Hello, hello.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh my God. Okay, I was not ready for that.
Oh.
But how do you call it? Oh, so what do you think? Oh, two things. What do
Yes.
you think about how do you call it? Biden's like kind of like infrastructure plan. I think it's a good start. However, like public transit, especially with buses, I know he's more of a train guy and everything.
Yep.
Like public buses and stuff like that. I'm kind of like, I doubt he's going to really care about that too much, especially how, at least compared to a more, grander or kind of Green New Deal would
Right.
kind of require with more green transportation on that. How do you kind of see about that first?
It's a start. I mean, listen, we're trying to go from the guy who Trump ran on, he would do all this infrastructure spending. He didn't do a damn thing. And so we're trying to go, the idea is first, let's get to someone who will do something, and then we can figure out, is it enough and can we do more? But yeah, I mean, like with you, I would like to see a more robust infrastructure plan, but we're trying to start righting the ship. So I will take anything that is a plan first and foremost.
That is true. And I'm not sure if you heard too much about this. And I'm not too much of an infrastructure guy. I know my friend is. So have you heard about kind of like China giving buses to like Mexico and some other somewhat more developed but developing-ish nations?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Spread their influence with
Are these electric buses or what's the deal?
So they're all electric, like Chinese-made buses. Kind of shows, hey, we can. Oh, sorry about that.
Is someone? Are you taking another call now, or?
No, it's Siri. No,
Oh my God, Siri's getting triggered by our conversation.
But how do you call it?
Well, I love the electric buses. Let's start. We could leave it on a high note there.
Yeah, for sure.
Beautiful.
But it's kind of like China kind of showing its dominance, like with green energy in a way compared to the U.S.
Yeah, they're flexing essentially.
Basically.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, no, I did not know about that, but I will research.
All right. It's great to hear you from David.
Thank you so much, and we will see you tomorrow for the election night stream. By the way, let me just remind everybody, I am going to just take a brief break from the calls just to paste the link for tomorrow's YouTube stream in the chat. Even if you plan to watch on Twitch or not at all, please go in there, like it, and set reminder. It really helps us in the YouTube algorithm to have a good stream. Okay, we're taking calls via Discord. Let's go next to Grace from Michigan. Grace from Michigan, you're on.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how you doing?
Good. I am doing text banking tonight.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's been interesting. I'm actually surprised how many people respond back to text messages versus phone banking, because I've done both phone banking and text banking, and I will tell you, people often, they will answer your text messages before they'll take your phone call.
Do you get a lot of like Trump people who are like, screw you, get me off this list?
Yeah, they'll do things. It's not always like, screw you, get me off this list. So they'll say go Trump, they'll say go MAGA, Trump 2020. Those are pretty common responses. I've gotten like, oh, I didn't vote for Hillary. So it's all over the place. But
and let me ask you, I get some of these. Are you using like a computer interface where you're seeing the responses on a screen? Like you're not actually using a phone?
No. I am using my computer interface.
Got it.
So yeah.
We've actually thought about doing some tech stuff on the show where we could start building up a texting list. And, like Gary Vaynerchuk does it. And there's some other, nobody's really doing it in my independent media space. And I always am trying to think of new things. Like when we went on Twitch, there weren't that many left political streamers on Twitch. I know Hassan was on, of course, and he's huge, but there wasn't a lot of it going. We're trying to be early to certain things. We were early to IGTV, and now a lot of our clips on IGTV get 40, 50,000 videos, and supposedly IGTV will monetize next year. I'm thinking about starting to do some kind of text thing.
Yeah, they use what's called through text is
Okay.
what we've been using. So, and it works out really well because you're not giving out your personal number.
Of
But
course.
I do get a lot of responses of people they're getting the same text messages from people. It's annoying.
Yeah.
And we get it. Like we get it. So, but it is like really important to, do these polls and, it's nice when people respond because then we can mark it down and get kind of an estimate of who's voting and what they're voting for. So.
All right, good. Well, let's hope for the best tomorrow.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, I would say it's like right now, even just doing what I've been doing tonight, and I've been doing this for like 6 hours.
Wow.
From like the afternoon until this evening. I will say it is a toss up.
You think it is? You're saying what's the whole thing is a toss up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have gotten like, yeah, I'm doing it Democratic, obviously, but
Yeah.
it is a toss up.
Wow.
So,
well,
yeah.
Let's hope it goes in our direction.
I'm hoping so. Have a good evening.
All right. Thank you so much. There is Grace from Michigan, shot out of a cannon today. Let's go next to Daryl from New York. Daryl from New York, what's going on? Daryl from New York, you are on.
Hello?
Yeah, what's going on? Yeah,
Hey,
what's going
what's up,
on?
David?
Hi, how you doing? Good, how are you?
I'm pretty good, thanks. Yeah, I wasn't expecting for you to pick up, but I guess my question is, what do you think of people still saying like there's still going to be riots and like violence? I really don't think there's going to be a lot of violence because I'm a flight attendant. I fly around to different cities domestically, and I don't know, everybody seems on their best behavior. Everyone seems civil. Like, I see people with Trump hats, and, I'm Black also, so they greet me. And I don't know. When I go out into the country, things don't seem as bad, in the country. But what's your thoughts on that? Do you believe, like, it's the end of the world tomorrow?
No, listen, it's not the end of the world. I think that if the safest scenario from the standpoint of violence is Biden wins in a landslide. I think if Biden wins by a little bit and Trump says it was rigged, I think that's the most dangerous scenario. I think if Trump claims victory and it's tight and it's not really clear if he won, I think that there will be some clashes. And then I think if Trump wins overwhelmingly, you will see huge nonviolent protests from the left combined with so-called peacekeeper militia types from the right, and it also has the potential to get pretty crazy.
And I guess my only other question is, it's so obvious that there's so much voter suppression. Like, I don't think Donald Trump's even trying to hide the fact that he's trying to suppress votes and trying to make these new rules on the day of election.
Right.
I mean, at some level, like, is this kind of illegal?
Well, the problem with that is whether something is illegal, this stuff is going to go to courts, and courts will decide essentially if it is or isn't. That's the complexity, where colloquially we would all say, like, of course, this is against the spirit of people being able to vote and enfranchisement. But in the technical sense, courts may decide, and that's scary.
Yeah. Well, thanks, David. This is the highlight of my night. I listen every day, and, keep doing what you do.
Let me ask you this. I'm curious. Are you aware of any strain of David Pakman viewership, either among other flight attendants or even pilots?
I do notice. I talk about it all the time. I actually stream. I'm not supposed to, but I stream your videos while I'm flying in the galley. So, but I tell everybody about you.
What equipment are you on these days?
Mainly the Boeing 737 and the Airbus.
Airbus what, like 320?
319, 320, 321. My job has these. Yeah.
We'll try to cut that out. Yeah. No, I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Your airline.
Thank you. Yes, my airline, they have the Airbus 321T, which is mainly for transcons. That's my favorite one because that's it's like a 3-class aircraft that, it's a first business and main cabin, and it's like the most exclusive. I love it.
Yeah, I had a few very, very powerful opportunities to ride up front on that. I think early it was being used on Boston LAX, and it was maybe even a swap in when that first was released. And it was wild.
We also do Boston to New York on those.
Yeah,
shuttles all the time. So it's awesome.
That's a flight I try to avoid if I can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let's hope for the best tomorrow. And to the pilots and flight attendants, we really appreciate the fact that you guys are still doing it at a time when it is difficult to do it.
It's our pleasure. Thanks, Dave.
All right. Very good. Some perfect phone calls today, I must say. Let's go next. This will be interesting. Let's go to Victoria from Caracas. Is this Caracas, Venezuela?
David.
¿Cómo estás?
Bien, bien. Sí, mira, well, I'll speak in English just to save you the translation process, but I've been watching you for about 2 years, 3 years, and well, I've been in the States doing grad school in Texas specifically, and it's been such a breath of fresh air to hear someone who is, stands by, humanist liberalism, but is balanced and, anti-authoritarianism in general. So
thank you.
I'm really grateful for your work and your coverage, and I really respect you.
So you're from Caracas, but you're in the U.S. currently.
Yeah, I'm currently in the U.S. I'm in Austin, Texas.
Got it. Okay.
But yeah, so, well, one on the taco, absolutely not a sandwich, but discuss that with someone from Mexico.
Sure.
And then another thing that I wanted to weigh in on before I go to my question is someone speaking about China gifting this to Mexico.
Yes.
And it's that China has been actually at the forefront of clean energy and any kind of clean energy, and it ties into like their somewhat like economic colonization of the developing world.
Right. We're no longer the leaders. It's like the developing world is not coming to us for advice on climate, and they're increasingly not even coming to us for products related to going green.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, I wrote a paper on solar panels and solar energy, and China has been kicking ass with solar panel production for a decade nearly.
Right.
They're really at the vanguard of this. And funny enough, fastest growing state for that is Texas in the U.S. And California,
is that right?
Obviously. Yep.
Now, that's not population adjusted, I'm guessing.
No, it's investment like related and also
just raw dollars. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, anyway, going to my question is, it's, obviously this stems from, Reagan's incredible Reaganomics propaganda and how this impacted, along with the Cold War, Americans' perception of how the state should or should not intervene in an economy.
Right.
And it's just so fascinating to hear that even like to this point, like a estas alturas, that most people still trust Republicans with economic affairs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
More than Democrats.
Now that did start, it's almost 50-50 now, interestingly, in this election, which is like as close as it's ever been.
I know. And I mean, what I wanted to ask you is, I mean, I study this. So how can we communicate to people that Republicans, not only does their botched philosophy not work, they're also terrible at it, and they don't govern economically well at all. They don't govern well, but
I don't know the answer. I've been thinking about this for a long time. Clearly, just showing people facts and charts doesn't work. The sort of moralizing doesn't seem to have worked. I don't know what the answer is, but I think that in 48 or 92, 96 hours, we probably will have more of an opportunity to think about what the messaging it has to be on that.
I hope so. I really do hope that, things turn out well. And well, thank you so much. And another thing is, Argentina, the best alfajores, in my opinion, are el cachafaz.
Yeah, those are good. Those are good. Here's maybe, let me ask you a different question because you came down very powerfully on tacos. Do you believe that an empanada is merely a small Latin American calzone?
Oh my God. This is a very puzzling question. I don't know. Maybe in Argentina because, well, I've been to Argentina many times, but because y'all have so many Italian immigrants, maybe there it originated.
I still say no. I don't. I think it is a completely different thing.
I agree with you also because in Venezuela and the Caribbean, they're made with corn flour rather than wheat flour. So yeah, I agree. It's not a calzone. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah. In Argentina, they're not made with corn flour, but even that notwithstanding, I say it is not a small calzone.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I'm so glad you picked up my call and, well, good luck, and I'll keep telling everyone about your show.
All right. Thank you so much. There is Victoria from Caracas, Venezuela, originally and now in Texas. Let's go to one more from Texas. Let me go to Claire from Texas. Claire from Texas, what's going on with you?
Hey, David. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I wanted to actually ask you a question.
Just out of curiosity, are you listening to music while we talk?
Oh, oops. I think I had something playing in the background.
Sounds like heavy metal or something.
Oh, no.
No heavy metal?
I wanted to ask, if, God forbid, Trump wins a second term.
Yes.
What do you think would be the next steps on reversing just basically like trans military ban, like continuing that trend?
I think it would only happen if Democrats take the Senate and then maybe the House and Senate. I mean, maybe Trump would even veto something, but maybe not. I don't know. But I think it's important because a lot of what Trump has done is via executive order. I think it would be great to have a president undo it by executive order.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm just really concerned because I know in like Indiana, I believe they're pushing for like, I think they're trying to ban trans athletes in certain sports. It just really concerns me as a trans person. And
yeah, well, the athletic stuff I think is different. The right loves to talk about athletics, like the forefront issue on trans rights is whether someone born biologically male should be able to be a female wrestler if they are a trans woman. The right wins when they make that the issue. I actually don't think that is really where the focus should be. And I can't help but think that the right wins by talking about stuff like that.
I think you're partially right, just because I agree. I don't think it's the biggest issue when it comes to trans rights. I think like the trans military ban, they also proposed housing rules to discriminate against trans people. It just really scares me.
Yep. I understand why. All right. Thank you so much for the call. We'll hope for the best. Yep. Take care. Claire from Texas. All right, let's go somewhere else now. Let's go to, there's just so many people who want to get on here. Why don't we go to Kenny from Berkeley? Kenny from Berkeley, you're on.
Hey, David, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Good.
Are you ready for the impending doom?
What are you referring to?
So, well, this leads me to my question. Have you been checking the Real Clear Politics polls? I just like them because they take an aggregate, no strings attached. It's just numbers in, numbers out.
Yes.
Oh, sorry about this. My question to you is, if you've noticed, all the polls are all of a sudden kind of ticking upward in the Trump direction. And yes, they're staying relatively stable with Biden. But why is this happening again? Is there something that the polls just magically can't catch until like it's November 1st or something? This seems to be a recurring theme.
You're saying I don't know that that's really the case.
If you look at Arizona, in certain swing states,
okay, no, sure, yeah. I mean, like, listen, Wisconsin is very powerfully staying for Biden. In Michigan, Trump's ticking up a little bit, but so I think there's been nationally, there's been a little bit of a tightening, but part of that is because Real Clear Politics is including polls that not everybody necessarily includes. I mean, I think what we have to do is compare to previous years is really the most important thing.
Okay, That's fair. Now I legitimately think that as you said, Wisconsin's going to stay blue. I think Pennsylvania is going to stay blue. I think even if Biden loses Florida, it's going to be a very long night tomorrow. If so, but I don't see how Trump has the electoral numbers here unless he starts to throw wrenches into the system.
It counts on him getting everything that is leaning Republican and flipping some things. He has to flip some things, because if you just go, as I did earlier, safe Republican, safe Democrat, leaning Republican, leaning Democrat, Trump needs all safe Republican, leaning Republican, and he's got to take something else that's leaning towards Biden. It's not impossible, though.
Right, especially if he tries to put as much strain on the system as he's clearly showing signs of wanting to do.
Indeed. Indeed.
Can I ask you a kind of zoom out question?
Sure.
So let's say things go according to the numbers in 2020 and we get a Biden presidency, and the country, well, half of us or 3/4 of us or 2/3 of us sigh a collective, big sigh of relief.
Yeah.
Do you think that this sets up the stage for the Republican Party as we know it, just from sheer demographics, to fall off the map? Or where do you think the right goes in America from here?
I think it would be too early to say. I think that, of course, we would all, if that were to happen, start to think that way. But the party has a way of making adjustments at the state levels in order to remain in contention. So I think it would just be too early. I think tomorrow's results won't tell us what we need to know to answer that question.
That's fair. All right, then I'll call you back soon.
Okay, thanks. Very much appreciate that. Let's see. Where else do we want to go today? A lot of different people here. Let's go to Monique from the Bay Area. Monique, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Great.
Sorry, this is my first time calling.
You're doing great so far. What's on your mind?
So over here in California, I know that we're going to be Democratic, but a lot of areas around here in the Bay Area are kind of nervous about the riots that are going to be happening tomorrow.
Okay.
So,
when you say riots, are they expected to be, who's going to be doing the rioting?
we're thinking possibly the Republicans.
Okay. And is that in any scenario or in one in which certain electoral outcomes happen?
I think in any scenario because of what happened in San Francisco and what's happening like all around the Bay and all that other stuff. But my question to you is, do you think Americans have worse stressors right now than other nations currently?
It's so tough to answer that because as such a rich country, you can just as a starting point infer that there are economic stressors that apply to a much higher percentage of the population of other countries than in the United States. But based on some recent polling, and everybody's dealing with the virus, based on the failure here on coronavirus and how it's worse than in just about every other place, and the anxiety many are experiencing, according to a number of polls I've looked at, I think it's plausible to say that right now, despite on average being economically very well off in the global stage, anxiety is running very high in the States. Yes, I think that is a fair thing to say with a variety of caveats and clarifications.
Right, because of that. And, what's happening with like all the weather and the fires out here and the floods and all that stuff.
No doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, and the problem whenever you do these things is, then somebody will say, well, what about the abject poverty of Liberia or something like that? And so it's not so much about necessarily comparing to other countries, but comparing the change in the status quo from what it was here in times past is maybe more relevant.
Right. Okay, well, thank you for taking my call.
Thank you for calling in. I really appreciate that. Okay, guys, we're going to call it. Donald Trump is still ranting and raving in front of a widely maskless crowd. These are all the same. This is the last day of campaign rallies. Tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, okay? Please, please, please join me. I am pasting once again the link to tomorrow's stream in the YouTube chat. I am pasting it in the Twitch chat. Even if you plan to watch elsewhere or not at all, please hit the like and the set reminder button on YouTube. It will very powerfully trigger support of our stream in the YouTube algorithm. I will see everybody tomorrow with the final podcast, YouTube clips, TV and radio show before the election, the final bonus show for members and patrons before the election, and then election results tomorrow night. I will see you then.